Aye, we give you the facts. It's not what you think. Popeye Newsling, Young King, 1 yard, bless.
Good morning, Popeye. Grandma watch Popeyes every morning and every night.
Greetings, viewers and subscribers. Question: have you watched part 1? Another question: have you watched part 2? If you have not, try and watch them, because that is the only way you're going to be getting a better understanding as to where we are now. I have seen many persons commenting, and they are saying that up until now, they can't see a valid reason why Abejay Powell, also known as TERRON, they cannot see a valid reason why he killed Otis Patrick, also known as ROUNEY. It is for that very reason why this series is called a murder mystery. Truth be told, there is no valid reason for TERRON killing ROUNEY. The closest thing we can point to as a motive was what TERRON told his girlfriend. The same girlfriend who TERRON confessed to. The same girlfriend who turned out to be the star witness in this case. He told her, and I quote, "The boy ROUNEY come there going like him want take over and run me out of my house." Those 19 words in TERRON's mind were reasons enough to kill ROUNEY. But I am putting it to you that it was much more than that. What TERRON didn't tell his girlfriend was that it was jealousy and the fact that some of his powers were now cut. TERRON didn't tell her that he got used to handling the money that his uncle was spending. He messed up and scammed his uncle's mother of $800,000. So his uncle did not trust him again to send any more money to him. TERRON, he didn't tell his girlfriend that he felt like persons in the area would be laughing at him because the hype that he was on was cut down. Based on what I'm learning, this was not the first time TERRON was shooting someone. He shot a man before, and we are learning that money run. TERRON, he did not face his judgment on that one, and as a result, he must be thinking that he could kill ROUNEY, and after a while, everything would blow away, but it didn't. This case was cracked by some hard-working Trelawney police officers. Some police officers who didn't even know who ROUNEY was. Some police officers who didn't care about ROUNEY's social standing. Some police officers who didn't care that ROUNEY's family was poor. They worked overtime and used all kinds of tactics to ensure that justice was served. I would like to use this forum to big up the Trelawney police officers who investigated this case. Job well done. Now, I'm going to give you a hint as to one of the tactics the police officers used. You remember in part 2 when I told you that the police told Sackett that they now have in their possession ROUNEY's pair of shoes that he, Sackett, was wearing, and they were sure that after doing DNA analysis on that pair of shoes, Sackett's DNA would be found on the shoes. You remember that when Sackett heard that, he pee up himself and told the police officers that he might come clean. You remember that Sackett, he went on to tell the police that it was TERRON who killed ROUNEY. Well, well, the question is, do you believe that the police officers had that pair of shoes? Do you believe? Alright, make that one rest. But that was one of the tactics that the police used to crack this case. Let's continue. So the case was now making itself through the courts. Sackett and 3 other male prisoners, they escaped from the Falmouth police lockup on Wednesday night, April 4, 2018. The case was still in the courts and TERRON, he was in custody, but the main witness who the police had offered to place on the witness protection program and who initially agreed to go on the program, she could not be found. It was believed by investigators that she was deliberately staying away because there was information to suggest that this lady was alive. Despite the many messages that were left for her to contact the police, she did not. You remember the other day when I told you about the death of the twins? Lawyer Johnson and I also spoke about it last week. Section 31D of the Evidence Act allows for statements to be tendered as evidence as long as certain things are done. Listen to what Lawyer Johnson had to say about this.
Yes.
So I'm going to touch something that a lot of persons don't know.
Yes.
Occasionally, sometimes persons, when they're out, will actually seek to kill the witness because they're of the view that once they kill the witness, the case dies. No, the case does not die. There are provisions where the statement that they have given can be used as the evidence.
I spoke about that since week, Section 31D of the Evidence Act.
Yes, I see you're very well informed.
Yeah, man, I spoke about it.
So,
yes.
So a lot of people think that if they kill the witness, or some person kill the witness,
yes,
they are home dry.
Yes.
No. And I will tell you this, my experience is that if that statement is properly taken,
yes, yes,
it can sink you.
Yes. Yes.
So actually, don't get a chance to cross-examine the witness.
Mr. Johnson, you are praying me, because I have a part 2 for a story coming up. And trust me, that's going to be a part of it. Yes. Yes.
So leave the witness alone.
Yes, ma'am.
Avoid him.
Yes.
And get good counsel who can represent you forcefully in court and put your defense forward in a very clear, logical, and lucid fashion.
Yes. Yes.
So you heard that. Well, as far as this case was concerned, notices were placed in major newspapers plus other things. The matter was called up in the Trelawney Circuit Court on Monday, February 6. On that occasion, the prosecution told the court that they were ready for trial and they intended on using Section 31D of the Evidence Act to tender the statement as evidence in the trial. The S prosecutor, she informed the court about all that was done. The court agreed that yes, the statement could be submitted. That was a big setback for the defense because if the witness did not come to court and the statement was not admitted as evidence, a not guilty verdict would almost be certain. The matter was set to be tried Wednesday morning, February 8 at 10 o'clock. Abejay Powell, he was pleaded and he pleaded not guilty. A jury was now being empaneled. Lo and behold, who was it that stepped in the courthouse? The witness that could not be found for 5.5 years. So, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. By the way, have you hit on the love button as yet? I never that me I got asked, but I just remember. If you have not yet done so, remember to hit on it. So, let me ask you something. Who do you think reached out to the witness and tell her to come to court? Who do you think would rather to have her give evidence than her statement being admitted as evidence? Remember now, if her statement was admitted, no questions could be asked. Now, everyone except TERRON and at least one other person who were in the court were shocked to see the witness. You wanna guess who the other person is? There was hardly enough time for the Crown Counsel to go over the statement with the witness so that she could refresh her memory. So a policeman was instructed to do so because the plan was for her to give her evidence first. The policeman went over the statement with her. When the court was ready for her to give her evidence, she could not be found. She was apparently reminded of the statement she gave, so she took away herself. The trial judge, she gave an order to the police. The order was simple. 2 words: find her. Within 45 minutes, the witness was found by the police. She was found in a taxi on her way out of Falmouth. She was brought back to court. She was sworn and she started to give her evidence. But guess what? Guess what? The witness, she told the court that TERRON did not tell her that he killed ROUNEY. She said TERRON told her that it was Socket who killed ROUNEY. She told the court that she didn't tell the police anything like what they wrote in her statement. She said the police were lying. Now, the Crown, they decided to treat her as a hostile witness. Question: do you know who is referred to as a hostile witness? You don't? Well, a hostile witness is a witness who appears to be refusing to fully testify in support of the Crown. In this case, who called her or testify in a way that significantly differs from her pre-trial statement. So the Crown was thinking of treating her as a hostile witness. The case was adjourned until the next day, Thursday, February 9. Now, when the matter was called up to be continued, one of the jurors out of the 12 was missing. Information was received that that juror was in police custody. The police, they had carried out a raid at his home early in the morning and he was taken into custody. Right away, the defense, they were of the view and they expressed it that this was a stalling tactics on the part of the police. They were of the view that because things were not going in the Crown's favor, that's why the police did this. The police officer who was in charge of the operation early that morning, he was summoned before the court. In court, he showed the judge proof that the early morning operation was being planned days in advance. He also told the court about the intelligence he had received in respect of the juror and what he was involved in. The court accepted the policeman's explanation and that juror was taken off the jury. The case then restarted and TERRON's girlfriend, once again, she took the stand. But guess what? Boy, may I tell you, guess what? She had a change of heart. Something or someone touched her. She fully cooperated with the prosecution. She told the court what TERRON told her, plus a whole heap more. Other witnesses came to court and they gave evidence. Witnesses who TERRON would have told all kinds of stories, and I mean conflicting stories about where ROUNEY was. The Crown closed this case and TERRON, he had 3 choices. In his defense, he could stay in the prisoner's dock and kept silent. He could stay in the prisoner's dock and make a statement, and the prosecution could not ask him any question. Or he could go in the witness box, be sworn or affirmed, give his evidence and be subjected to cross-examination. TERRON went into the witness box. TERRON, he told the court a lot of things. He denied killing ROUNEY. You remember I told you about 4 prisoners to include Socket that had escaped from the Falmouth police lockup? TERRON, he tried to capitalize on that. He told the court that he too could have escaped that night because he was one of the prisoners in the cell that the other prisoners escaped from. He told the court that he chose not to escape because he knew that he's innocent. You remember in part 2, I told you to note the fact that 4 prisoners from the same cell escaped and only 4 prisoners were in that cell. It is for this reason, because it was proven in court that TERRON, he was in another cell. He was not in that cell where the 4 prisoners escaped from. So even if he wanted to escape that night, he couldn't because the cell that he was in, it was securely locked up. Right there, TERRON got a radam. TERRON, he told a lot of other lies, which were found out. In the end, the defense closed its case. The defense made their submission to the jury. The Crown also made their submission to the jury, and trial judge, Miss Andrea Thomas, she summarized the case. The case was now handed over to the jury, and it took them less than 2 hours to come up with a unanimous verdict for the offense of murder. A social inquiry report and antecedent were ordered and sentencing was set for Thursday, March 23 in Montego Bay. In her plea for mercy, TERRON's lawyer, Shelly-Ann Hyman, she told the court that the antecedent and social inquiry report indicate that TERRON does not appear remorseful, and it is unfortunate. I submit that the reason for that is because he did not admit, but it is his right to maintain his position. The social inquiry report is one, I believe, persons generally call a mixed one. There are persons in the community who speak highly of TERRON as well as the members of his family. They described him as someone who generally gets along with persons in his community, even though he is known to be a little bit reserved. We are, of course, in your hands as it relates to sentencing. We are asking that the court accept our submission that TERRON is not beyond redemption and can be rehabilitated. We will accept whatever sentence the court is going to impose, tempered with mercy. We are hoping that today will bring some kind of closure to what must be a traumatic period for this family. This argument, that argument did not sway Justice Andrea Thomas. She sentenced TERRON to life imprisonment and ordered that he would have to serve 29 years before being eligible for parole. In handing down sentence, Justice Thomas highlighted several aggravating elements, including the fact that TERRON was not honest and subjected them to a trial. That ROUNEY was not a stranger, remember now. ROUNEY was TERRON's cousin. Plus, the extent TERRON went to so as to cover up the murder. Now, one of ROUNEY's brother had this to say to the court. TERRON took the life of my brother, my best friend, my mentor, my counselor. He did not have to kill him. He never once owned up to the wrong he did, and that even made it hurt more. He killed my brother and lied to my family and the community at large, even though he killed him and buried him at the back of the house like he was a dog that you killed and burned. He led us to believe that my brother had left the house and would never return. I am unable to forgive TERRON for taking my brother's life because he killed my brother and has never ever shown any sign of remorse in his actions. Judge, I ask that TERRON gets the maximum sentence that the law allows because what he did is so reprehensible and has affected many persons in many ways. Please make him serve the time that matches the damage that he did to me and my family. Yesterday, Saturday, March 25, is 6 years to the day TERRON carried out that dastardly and senseless act. Condolences to ROUNEY's family and friends. May his soul continue finding rest. The mayhem continues. Blessed love, everybody.
Tell a friend for tell a friend for tell a friend about Powell Newslink and PNL Blog TV. Like, subscribe and share. Quicksilver sing, if we just unite, what a country this will be. If we just unite, Jamaica live in unity. If we just unite, what a country this will be. If we just unite, Jamaica live in unity. Hey, crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh Jamaica, me sweet Jamaica. Crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh Jamaica, me sweet Jamaica. I coulda sunshine or rain. Jamaica, no problem, no pain. Good boy them no out can't tame, but me want me country back. Give me country back. To the street and the lane, everybody them start complain. Bloodshed, what me want me country back, give me country back. Crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh Jamaica, me sweet Jamaica. Crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh Jamaica, me sweet Jamaica. Jamaica, Jamaica, the land of the sun. Jamaica become now the land of the gun. East and north and south when me turn. Country and town, man a pay blood a run. Murder, don't you baby me hear them a murder. Cut it out, tell them no gonna further. Man a dead like cans and bird, yeah. Who no listen them a word, yeah. Crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a